Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's I'm going to be reviewing the new Lexus LX 700h Overtrail. This is the 300 series Land Cruiser that we haven't gotten until today. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Lexus here in Linden for giving me some time with this Overtrail. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a hybrid twin-turbo 3.4-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 19 around town, 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 457 horsepower and then 583 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now this is the new earth color, and I'll say it looks a lot better on the LX than it does on the GX, just being honest there. I don't know, for some reason it just works with the proportions here a little bit better. Anyways, love the headlight design there. And then, yeah, we've got a lot of trim here at the bottom. You see the fog lights at the very bottom. Now this just has a blacked out version of the regular LX grille. It does not have the cool F-Sport grille, but I think it still works really well with the overall theme. So our tire wheel setup is 265 by 70 by 18. So Lexus is calling this a 33, but this is really like a 32.6, 32.7. They're rounding up, but it still has all-terrain tires from the factory. And I love the satin finish on the wheels as well. And I'm wondering the biggest tire you could fit. I mean, it looks like there's quite a bit of space in here. So you could probably fit a true 33 at minimum. Might even be able to do a 33.5. Probably not a 34 though, but don't quote me on any of this. Anyways, we got the blacked out fender flares. You can see the blacked out mirror cap, door handles. You got the fixed side steps there as well. And, oh, I love the finish on the window trim. It looks really nice too, but there's your side profile. Now this leads us to the key fob, just the normal Lexus key fob with your lock and unlock opening for the hatch. And then there's the Lexus logo there on the back. Now this is something that is going to be interesting with this new 700h, and it is the whole battery situation back here with the third row. So you'll notice that you've got this little shelf situation here because of the battery taking up some space, and then you notice that we actually still have a third row. Let me pull up one of these seats, which is pretty straightforward. All I have to do is just hold that down and then the seat will pop up, and I'll pop into the third row and see if this feels any different compared to the other LXs. Yeah, it's kind of slow to pop up, but you still have, there we go. Normal use of the third row, it looks like. Again, I'll double check the space in just a little bit. But yeah, this whole shelving situation makes it a little bit different with using this as cargo. Now this leads us to the taillights here. Really cool how that kind of goes across. And this has no Overtrail badges, just the LX 700h badge there to signify that's the hybrid. And then you do have a full-size spare underneath. That hangs pretty darn low, actually. Interesting. But there's the rest of the rear. Popping into the passenger cabin, I really like this interior coloration. Again, a lot of this stuff doesn't look good on the configurator, but when you see it in person, it looks a lot better. Same thing with the trim here. Got the sunshades. This is really nice down below. Look at that trim that goes across. Yeah, this is really cool with the seat coloration on this. Now, space back here is pretty good in the second row. Got a little storage pocket there. We have heated and ventilated seats. We've got our own climate zone here in the back. Got cup holders. I mean, this is luxurious. And you can recline these seats as well. And then headroom back here is pretty good. So sitting in the back here, I think my feet might actually be pushed up a little bit higher than in a regular LX. But yeah, I mean, the LX third row has never been known for space. I mean, you're going to have your legs pushed up and everything. But you do have some USB ports and to fold down the seats. And you got some vents back here, so it's not the worst. And then this leads us up front where, again, you've got more of the cool coloration. By the way, this just got delivered. That's why it hasn't been detailed or anything. We've got memory seats here, blind spot warning with the mirrors. The mirrors do power fold in. Got the nice finish on the controls. This can tow 8,000 pounds and then has 1,190 pounds of payload capacity. Gross vehicle weight rating is 7,450 pounds, meaning this weighs, so 6,200 pounds. So it weighs just a little bit more than a 200 series Land Cruiser, like a couple hundred pounds for reference. And then, yeah, really nice trim with the rest of the seat, all of your adjustments on the side. The steering wheel is power adjustable too, and then you got that for the camera. And let's start it up. So, Lexus logo front and center on the steering wheel, and here's a full view of the steering wheel, by the way. You got paddle shifters there on the back. You got some controls here for the center stack, your voice command volume controls, adaptive cruise control through lane centering as well. And then you've got just traditional stocks there on the back. And then before we go over the gauge cluster, we do have a heads-up display. Now, full digital gauge cluster, and just like other modern Lexus and Toyota cars, it's customizable, so you can change what this looks like display-wise and just what it displays in general, which I think is a huge plus in terms of usability. And then we've got a bunch of different drive modes. You notice when I pop it into the Sport and Sport Plus mode, it gives you cool animation for all the little modes, but it also does make the cluster, once it loads up, have the kind of like white and red contrast, so it looks a little bit more aggressive. And there's so many on-road modes. 360 camera system, and it does do the fill in underneath the vehicle thing, which is really cool. And then just like other new LXs, we've got the split screen setup. So we have this top screen, which is for basically most of the stuff that you see in a normal infotainment system, where you can basically customize everything, get into the real nitty gritty of it. And it does have a physical volume control. And then we have the secondary screen down below, which is just for random vehicle functions. Like, it has the climate controls built into it. For example, it lets you turn on or off the height adjustable suspension with the vehicle. So I think the screen's kind of unnecessary, but it's, I guess, a nice bit of tech that you can have there. Anyways, physical climate controls down below. And then you notice we got a drive mode select with our multi-terrain select, and then your crawl control all built into there. And then your selector for four-wheel low if you want to go into that, and it's full-time four-wheel drive. Heated and ventilated seats, and by the way, the climate and the seats and the steering wheel, you can set all of that to auto, which is kind of a cool thing with the Land Cruisers. And then we have our parking brake here. You know, so auto holds, and then we've got our center diff lock, stability control, and then this is to raise and lower the suspension, phone charging pad. It's got some cup holders. And hidden beside the steering wheel is our diff locks for the front and for the rear. So this is triple locked, like a G-Wagon. And then this has the cool center console that, yeah, goes up both ways. It's also a refrigerator as well. And then again, really nice trim all across the dash, really tight fit and finish. Camera rear view mirror with this. We've got nice trim on the sun visors. We've got a regular sunroof with this as well. And just nice trim on the headliner in general. It's not Alcantara or anything, it's just this soft touch cloth. Again, if you've been in a Land Cruiser, you know what I'm talking about. So first thing I'll show you guys is the suspension height. So this is the lowered ride height, so this is gonna make it easy to get in and out of the car. This is the neutral height, so this is the height at which you will drive the car around in. Now this is the H1 height, so this is going to be for, you know, some minor off-roading, I suppose, climbing up some things. And then finally we have the H2 height, so this is going to be for your more extreme off-roading, and it is a substantial difference from the neutral height. Now this brings us to the pricing, which, although this is expensive, it's not as crazy as you might think. So this one has a base price of $114,000. It's got the upgraded Mark Levinson sound system, which is worth it to go for. Anyways, $118,535 is the total MSRP. If we had the 300 series Land Cruiser here in the US, although it would be badged as a Toyota, it actually wouldn't be that much more affordable. It would be probably about $10,000 less. So it would still be over $100,000. Anyways, something's up. Well, let us set off here on the 700h Overtrail. So there's a few things that I've wanted to test out on this. On all the reviews, I've seen that they've claimed that the high ride height setting is still comfortable with the suspension travel, because unlike air suspension, it's not like you're sitting at the top of bags. You still get the full damping. And I will say, in H2, obviously we're just on road here, it seems like it's still, and here, this little dip here will show us better. Yeah, it seems like it's still actually pretty, yeah, it's still kind of goes back and forth. It's not stiff. So we're gonna put this in the neutral setting, because that's what people are actually gonna drive this in, is the neutral setting. They're not gonna, you know, around town and everything, they're not gonna drive it in H2. That's just purely for maximum clearance, because you're trying to do a little bit of crawling up some stuff. Now, what I will say is, everything that I didn't like about the original LX 600, it seems like this has fixed most of it. So first off, power. It's got a much bigger push right on the low end, right off the bat. And then the next thing is the suspension. This hydraulic suspension, it feels a lot better than the air suspension, I think. It handles well. It's still a big SUV, but it handles pretty darn well. It doesn't corner quite as well as the, and a lot of you were one in comparison, it doesn't corner quite as well as the GX Overtrail. That EKDSS makes a big difference with handling. This is definitely a much bigger beast, and you feel the weight in the handling characteristics. Man, it's so quiet in here. These cars are so, these LXs are so nice in terms of a luxury car. It's just like silent inside. I mean, you hear a little bit from the outside, but it's definitely a luxury cocoon. Man, this suspension's nice. Yeah, see, all my complaints with the powertrain, again, the regular turbo V6 is fine, but for a luxury flagship like this, I don't know, it could be kind of a little bit abrasive on the low end. Not the worst thing. Man, this is floaty with this hydraulic. Sorry, I gotta make sure my tripod isn't full. This is floaty with this hydraulic suspension. It's actually really nice. You can still tell it's body on frame though, with the solid rear axle. I mean, it still has, you know, over the little bumps and everything, it's still a truck. It's still a truck. But it's a comfortable truck. Oh, that's so nice. Oh man, I might get myself in trouble with this thing. Yeah, the hybrid fixes everything that I didn't like about this in terms of the drive. The hydraulic suspension fixes the ride quality issues that I didn't like, and the hybrid fixes the acceleration issues on the low end that I didn't like. Yeah, and it's still got kind of a tapered off top end because it's a V6. Ooh, man. Lexus has done it again. Triple locked like a G-wagon, but you get better quality than, and much better reliability than a Mercedes. Oh man, I might just get myself in trouble with this thing. Well, there's the LX 700H.